Check. All right, cool. Thank you very much. And cool. So what I'm going to cover today is expectations and rewards. So many of the mentors should be familiar with this. But kind of what I'm going to look at today too is what is it really like to be a GDG organizer? So some of us might be organizers of other chapters that aren't GDG affiliated, or we've been an organizer for another organization in the past, something like that. But what sets GDG apart? What makes that different? And then we're going to look at, what does your members expect of you as an organizer? So, as Naveen showed in the schedule, there's a lot of helpful tips and a lot of ideas that we're going to, hopefully, instill upon you with our mentors. But a lot of it is, what does your members expect of you? So I'll cover that a little bit. And then what does Google expect of you as GDG organizers? So I'll touch on that a little bit as well. But to kick it off first, hi, I'm Kyle. And
hi, Kyle.
Hey, thanks. I am your North America regional lead. That's my Twitter handle up there. So feel free to tweet me. I've already been added a few times I've seen, but cool. Many of you might not know this though. I used to be a GDG organizer. So, so I've been where you are. I've sat in these same exact seats. I understand the new organizer problems. I understand the hashtag organizer problems. And so I was a GDG organizer for around 7 years. And then I was also a GDE, a Google Developer Expert. And I was also part of our Women Tech Maker Ambassador program prior to joining Google. But yes, I am now at Google, so you have an advocate on the inside. So you have an insider. So very happy to be here, be a part of it, and help the community keep growing. And so that's, I believe you asked the goal to Naveen earlier, like what is your goal? So that's my goal, is to, since I came from the community, I understand the needs of the community. That's my goal, is to help Google understand that better. And so when Naveen was talking about how we source some of the content from internally at Google from organizers, one of the organizers internally at Google. So how we kind of brought up all these ideas together. But, so we're going to dive back into the basics here a little bit. Intro to GDG organizing. So public service announcement. As Naveen showed in his talk, we're going to do a lot of interactivity today. So there's going to be a lot of audience participation. A lot of the mentors talks will have this as well. So I'd like to see a raise of hands who, they're already starting. Whoa, you don't even know why. Don't even know why yet. So who revived or took over a chapter, a GDG chapter? So anybody revived or took over a chapter? So cool. All right. So who joined as a co-organizer to an existing chapter? All right, so a few more hands. Who started their chapter? Nice. So healthy mix here. I know there's a lot of double hands and triple hands I saw there too. So who organizes a chapter that's not part of the GDG network? All right, so we have some outsiders here as well. But yeah, so no, that's great. In addition to GDG, yes. In addition to GDG, yes. Thank you. And so, like with all of this, so as you can see, we have very diverse backgrounds, very diverse stages, but we're all relatively at the same stage of what is GDG, except for our mentors in the room. I saw lots of hands going from the mentors, but yeah, so we're at generally the same stage at what is a GDG organizer. So why are you here? And I know this is the existential question, and we're not going that deep. We're not going that deep. So why are you here? So some of you decided to become a GDG organizer because you wanted to meet with people with similar interests, right? You wanted to hey, I'm interested in cloud. I want to talk about cloud with other cloud devs, or I want to talk about Android with other Android devs. Some of you joined as an organizer because you wanted to teach a skill. Some of you have that drive that you not necessarily want to do public speaking, but you enjoy helping other people learn. So that's why some of us are here. Many of us probably joined because we wanted to grow or learn a new skill set. Potentially, probably change our career path, something like that. Some of us joined as co-organizers because we enjoyed So those of you who raised your hand when you joined to be a co-organizer of an existing chapter, you probably joined because you saw how empowering the GDG community was, and that excited you. You wanted to help continue that growth to happen. You wanted to help facilitate that. And then, as part of that, you found the community that you were looking for, and you wanted to give back. So, right, yeah, I saw some more heads nodding there. Perfect. So that's why all of us are here today. And how is this different from any old user group? So those of you who raised your hand that you run other user groups, you've probably seen the GDGs are a little bit different than typical user groups. One of those things that happen is, you may have heard this already today, maybe a little bit last night. Some of us talk about this as our GDG family. So you might have heard the family tossed around a little bit. So we have this network that comes together. We have these different relationships that pop up, and not all of us are from the same region, same chapters, but we like to help each other a lot. And we at Google, we greatly value this. And yes, I did throw up a different group photo because Naveen had the other group photo, so. But yeah, so at Google, we value bringing everyone together like that, because like this event here, because you're able to share your stories and experiences. The insights that you bring from your individual chapters really help this community, this family grow and learn from each other. And us at Google, we learn from that too, by you sharing your stories. And so with all of that, to all of the new organizers that are part of the GDG network, welcome to the GDG family. So, all right, now getting to the rough part. What does your community expect of you? What do your members ask of you? What? Oh, we already have a question. I don't have. I'm not. I mean, it's great. If you have an idea, feel free. She's got a mic for you. I love it. I love it.
Pretty much every event we hold.
Yeah, name and goal. Name and goal.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Justine. I co-organize GDGLA, and my goal is kind of long. To support community learning desires and create opportunities for connection, targeting 50% turnout and community-suggested topics at 80% or more events before October.
Wow. Nice.
It's a mouthful. But in line with that goal, pretty much every event that I've done now that I'm co-organizing GDGLA, one or two people come up to me with a very specific learning goal, and they're just like, I can't find a good tutorial. You please teach us. And I think that's kind of a challenge sometimes, because some of the questions that get asked are very specific.
Super specific sometimes, yes.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, oh man, I would love to get you somebody who just does like TensorFlow-based, language AI work. That would be awesome. That is not what my day job is. So it's an interesting challenge, but one that we're really interested in serving.
Definitely, that's a great challenge to have. Thank you. Yes, and so along those lines, so content was one part of that. Like where your members expect you to bring them content. They expect you to bring them that expertise and teach them these things. So yes, these are very valuable things, but you did hit the nail on the head that this is not your day job either. We're all volunteers here. So yes, a lot of props to you on that. Other things that I had here is, believe it or not, they also want to hear from you. So they want you to make announcements to them. They want, other than, hey, we have a meetup next month. In between then, they also want to hear from you. They want to know, hey, we do have a meetup coming, here's the speaker. So if you're engaged with them, who has meetup.com notifications turned off? Yeah. Your members probably do as well. So if you're using other meetup notifications, or you have a mailing list, that's another way to reach out to these members. So that way you're engaging with them. They do want to hear from you. They might not always respond to those emails, but they do appreciate hearing what's going on. One idea is to schedule your meetups far enough in advance and announce them at the end of that current meetup. So that helps them know that you already have a plan. Here's the next topic. You might not have the speaker yet, but here's the next topic, here's when it is, and here's where it's going to be. That helps keep your members aware that your community is still going forward and they know it's about to happen. And back to what, Justine, sorry, I knew it was a J. Justine, so when you're getting their input, that's great that you're getting that in-person input as well, because that's invaluable. You're getting that candid feedback that tells you as the organizer, my community wants to know about TensorFlow. I mean, if you're just running the campaigns that Google provides, how would you know that your members are looking for TensorFlow unless you asked them or they came directly up to you and said, give us TensorFlow? So getting that in-person feedback at your meetups, talking to them at your meetups, gives you this kind of feedback. Running surveys, not just the surveys that Google gives, you're able to do your own surveys as well. Ask the community, what do they want to know? What do they want to hear? What do they enjoy about your meetup? These kind of questions. So this way you're getting that kind of insights and feedback. Your community looks up to you. You're a community leader in your locality. They look up to you. They know that you have this special superpower. So, and as Naveen called out, thank them. So, secret's out, we thanked all of you earlier. Thank your attendees. By thanking your attendees, they're included. Also asking them to participate, and they're engaged. And thank them for doing that as well. And attendance. So at Google, we do ask you to fill out the event survey and how many people, how many heads were in the room, how many butts were in seats, this kind of stuff. I'm not talking about that kind of attendance. You know your members best. We know many of your names. We've seen you before at repeating events, but many of you are new, and I'm learning Justine's name for the first time. So not a hard name, but I'm getting the face to the name now. But yeah, so next time, I'd be like, hey, great to see you again. So you're welcoming them back to your meetup. Or if they happen to miss a meetup, hey, we missed you last month. It's great to see you here. So that kind of recognition to your members helps them feel part of the community as well. So that goes along with thanking them for being there. So, what does Google expect of you? So this isn't some wide eyes happened here. It's not that much. These event surveys, without this data that's coming in, we don't know that. I mean, we know that you're holding events because Meetup tells us so, but we don't know how they're doing. If you don't give us the attendee head counts, we can't tell. I mean, we might be able to know that your events are actually growing. So let's say you run a cloud study jam and you happen to say that you have 100 attendees coming, but your previous meetup, you only said you had 5 that showed up. How do we know that you had that kind of growth without you telling us that you're through your event surveys? So if we're able to see that and quantify that, we can justify, hey, GDG Toronto needs more budget. This kind of stuff. I saw the smile, so I had to call you out, sorry. So, and then feedback, as Naveen also pointed out, these feedback on our campaigns, that we're running. With these campaigns, these are coming a lot from internally. Sometimes we get feedback on, hey, we'd like to see something from TensorFlow. That's great. We can put something together on TensorFlow and send that out, but is that good? Or is that, did we do good with this content? Is this something that excited your community and they want to learn more, for example? So, or, hey, this was not at all good for my community whatsoever. And that tells us we need to go back to the drawing board. What kind of content, what kind of event campaign can we provide to your community that makes it better? And Google products, as Naveen mentioned, I won't dive into that. But the GDG program itself, this event specifically. So this is the very first time we've done Academy. And we're all learning at this as well. So we're super excited to hear this feedback. We want to know How did it go? What would you like to see? And talk with your mentors. The mentors let us know this as well. The mentors are a great sounding board. If you want to have that more candid, because sometimes it might be a little scary talking to a Googler, we're very friendly. We don't bite. I promise. And then the other thing that Google asks of you is that transparency on that feedback. I mean, again, if you don't feel like coming to us as Google, you have your mentors that you can reach out to and talk to. We appreciate that kind of candid feedback. The other big thing that we look for is community stories. So we have these event surveys that happen, and we know numbers. We know on Meetup that you had an event on the Cloud Study Jam. That's great. Let us know if something happened out of it. If one of your attendees had this mind-blowing experience and they're now this super cloud developer, or you had a Flutter event and they're now top 45 on Twitter for devs. So Scott and I were talking last night about that, so congrats, Scott. But the biggest thing that Google asks of you, of all of you organizers, is to do what's right for your community. So if let's say a campaign that we ask you to run, I mean, we're not asking you to run it, we're just putting it out there as an option for you to run. You don't have to run every campaign we put out there. So some of you might feel that that's overload because like Google keeps sending us all these things that we can run. We have to do this, no. Do what's right for you and your community. If the cadence that works for you means you have to skip this study jam, that's okay. We have time. There's no rush on this. Whatever works great for your community. And so, we got a question. Here.
Hi, I'm Ben Rodriguez from GDG Chicago. My goal is to, the next 18 months, meet some people that can help me get to the next level in my career. So I'm looking at this organization to help me do that. My question was about the campaigns you just mentioned. I haven't seen so many campaigns, like I know one or two, but where do they come out? Like, what are your channels that you use to send those out?
Great question. Great question. So our channels that we send these out on are our Google Groups mailing list, as well as Slack. Those are the two official channels that we announce on. And those communications will either come from Cubra or Gayatri. So you'll see notifications from either of those. But it's on those two channels. So if you, obviously, if all of you are here, you're recognized as an official GDG organizer, you've signed the conditions, and you're on our mailing list, you auto get added to the mailing list. So you are subscribed. It might show up in one of your hidden tabs on Gmail, but you do get these notifications, I promise you. The other thing is on Slack. If you're not part of the Slack community yet, please speak with Cubra before the end of the day today. We will make sure you're on the Slack community. And then we had a question back here.
Hi, my name is Linda Kovacs, and I'm GDG Capital Region, Albany, New York area. And my goal is, when I joined our GDG group, there was not so many women showing up, especially to code labs. And so one of my goals is to bring more women in our community. And this, I started already to see it when I started. I'm doing monthly Flutter meetups, but we have some problems. Not everybody have the computer to be ready to be set up for Flutter. We set it up, but they have other problems. And when there is another upgrade or other changes to Flutter, when we I tell you the truth, I'm worried to upgrade to do all the updates, because after I will not have my computer ready for the Flutter. So I start to put it on the side, the upgrades, to make sure that I have the computer. If I see that everything works good, after I go to do it. But this is a big problem, I see it. And many times we spend like 1 hour or 2 hours only to fix people's problems. And after we have like 1 hour or less left for the Flutter meetup. Another problem that we have is resources. So I finished all the quick labs that you have out there. Now I started to learn from Udemy, from YouTube. If we have some other professional, a little bit more intermediate or advanced Flutter training available, or there, if there is anything on that you have planned as Google to put out their resources. Also, I don't know where to find resources, and English is not my language, my first language, and it's very difficult. So I really need the resources so I can give to my community what they need. And I see that Flutter attracts women, so that's why I'm trying to do that. Of course, I would like to bring other things in, but I started with Flutter. Thank you.
Very cool, thank you. So the first part, I heard 3 different parts in there. Yeah. So the first part is getting more women to attend your meetups. That's a challenge that I'm sure a lot of us face. The 2 first resources I want to point out are Stacy up here up front, and Rio. Okay, Rio, she's standing now, because I was like, Rio, you're gone. Rio's standing in the back. So these are your WTM ambassador mentors. So they have a lot of great ideas on this as well, and can help give you some ideas and help in that space. With the Flutter, the setup times and stuff like that, feedback taken. These are things that we could bring back to the Flutter dev team, and we have Scott up here who's
just 2 quick tips that can solve 90% of the problems.
Oh, pick you up later. So yes, so talk with Scott later on some of that, but that is definitely something that we could come back with to the Flutter team and be like, hey, setup is a pain in the butt. What can we do about this? And so this is something that we could bring back to the Flutter team.
It's even because everybody has different computers, different environments, and
of course.
Things work, sometimes doesn't work how you expect.
Yes, and then, but the biggest piece, the resources, that is another thing that we could bring back to the team, is letting them know, hey, the community out there wants more advanced resources. The stuff they've eaten through, they love it. We need to give them more. So that goes for any product that your community is facing. So yes, let us know this. If you want more advanced content, or the content out there might be too advanced, let us know this. So we can be like, hey, we need to have an intro level as well, so that way people can understand the technology before we throw them to the wolves and here's the most advanced stuff, go. So yes, thank you. One more.
I have a suggestion to Sorry. Oops. Thank you. Okay. So my name is Anita Kierkowska. I co-organize the GDG Central Florida, but I also brought the GDG to my home country, GDG Skopje. And Marina and I, we both kind of remotely support that GDG over there. So for my goal is, I want to bring better opportunities for students that are international students, because I'm finishing my master's at UCF, Central Florida. But also, like when you mention Flutter, and when you mention those technologies that are kind of appropriate for women, but also they're appropriate for startups. Even Firebase and these other technologies, startup founders, they're not really aware how can they scale up their product really easy with these technologies. And, okay. I just wanted to add to that. I just wanted to share a success story. So for the DevFest in Florida, we brought a developer from Macedonia to attend a Flutter Code Labs. And then, so our kind of goal for that time was we didn't have any GDG expert for Flutter in Macedonia. So we kind of, think about it. He was working in Booking. They have some kind of funding to let them go on conferences. We were like, let's use that. Let's bring this person to DevFest Florida, let him learn Flutter, make him GDG expert. Next year, we'll have GDG expert there. So it's kind of, looking outside the box, making your own resources. So yeah. Sorry, I'm excited. My voice is... I think there's someone here who...
That's a great question. I can follow up on.
I didn't even know, right?
So, yes.
I didn't even know, but the thing is, he's really popular developer there, and he's an Android developer. And his biggest risk with he has some social app, and then he's a volunteer for his own app. And then he's an Android developer, but he has some iOS users as well. And then he was really depending on iOS developers to help him. And then Flutter was his really the best choice. And he was like, you need to find that personal motivation in those people, and then they would kind of perform it for you at the end. So I didn't even know, like.
I would like to know how to know more how to do it, so I can give
Cool.
my community. You know?
I didn't know it either. I'm kind of putting the resources to them, and then they're gonna do the same for the community. Yeah. So yeah, thank you.
Make the community works for you.
Yeah.
First part of that, that's a great example of a community story. So if you have an event that happens where you brought a developer in from wherever, it doesn't have to be from an international attendee, but if there's somebody who was empowered like that from an event, a meetup that you ran, let us know about that. Let us know that they're on their way to become a Flutter GDE. That's a really cool story. Thank you for sharing. The next part of that, with the Flutter GDE, I believe Madusha is still out front. So if you want to learn a little bit more, you don't have to get him right now. No, I'm just pointing where he is. But yeah, so please speak with Madusha today. He can go over the criteria and things that we look for in GDEs. So great. I'm gonna bounce through really quick, so that way I can hand off to Uttam before we run too much over time. But organizer perks and rewards, I'm sure we're pretty excited for this, right? First one is this GDG network, AKA the GDG family. So these are, I know Naveen mentioned the mentors as a resource. They are an amazing resource for all of you. But you also have each other that you can lean on and ask questions of, because a lot of you are starting this off together. So for some of the mentors, it may have been a few years since we kicked off a chapter. So we may have forgotten some of these growing pains, or may not have grown a chapter in a large city that, some chapters that spin up are in smaller cities. So they have their different issues and whatnot. But yeah, so if you hadn't picked up on that already, this is a huge perk that most other user groups don't get, this organizer knowledge right here. The other thing is organizer invites to special events, like this one. So we have special events where we bring organizers together, like the summit in Miami, here in Boulder. We also make opportunities available to come to Google I/O, to Cloud Next. So we have things that organizers can get perks with. The other big thing that many of you have touched on already is we can give you content for your meetups. That's a huge perk. You have this training material that you can learn yourself, but then also help teach members of your community this technology. So that's a huge perk that a lot of user groups have to beg for, kind of stuff. The other cool thing is, can you hold up your backpack real quick? That's some pretty cool swag, right? So we get some special organizer swag. We also have swag that goes out to your attendees for your events. So if you need stickers, Firebase is great at coming up with the craziest swag, headbands, hot sauce, stuff like that. Socks, yes. So we have these kind of swags that, being a part of the GDG family, you have access to. And then doubling down on these resources, your mentors. We have speakers that are available, the GDEs that Naveen hinted at. We have this huge GDG network that they can speak at your meetups. We have a few GDEs here in the room. So we have this kind of connectivity. And then back to the content bundles. Oops, I was supposed to be clicking. There we go. And oh wait, quick photo. There we go. All right. And with that, I'm going to hand off to Uttam. So thank you all.